And a good Wednesday morning, Quad Cities. It is April 22nd here. The time right now is 9:05. Welcome in to a brand new episode of Ask Andrew Live. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky. We have a jam-packed show for you today. So much to talk about, including, yes, the possibility of seeing a super El Nino develop over the summer, fall, and upcoming winter months. So you'll want to stick around for that. I'll do a deep dive into it, how it could impact those upcoming seasons, and what exactly is a super El Nino anyway. We're also going to talk about some shower and thunderstorm chances coming in for tomorrow, and a recap of just how active this month and this year so far has been when it comes to the overall severe weather events that have come through. It's been very, very busy. Thankfully this week, we're taking a bit of a break. Welcome aboard. If you're new, we're happy to have you with us. We do this every Wednesday at 9 o'clock right here on the A+ app, and we also simulcast this on our Facebook page. If you have a question, which we will get to at the end of the show here at about 20 minutes after the hour, you can submit that via a couple of ways. The preferred method is if you just go ahead and throw it in the comments section of our live stream on our Facebook page. But if you're not on Facebook and maybe you're watching on the A+ app, there's a number you can send it to, and that's at the bottom of your screen there, the 309-304-0888. Want to start off the show this morning with a big thank you to the kids at Hillcrest Elementary School. In fact, I got this awesome thank you poster in the mail the other day. This was a great group of students. They had so many amazing questions and so smart too. I tell you what, these kids these days are just smart as whips. They are just brilliant little minds that are out there working. So always love the school visits. And of course, we have a lot more school visits ahead of us. If you're an educator, or maybe you want a small group talk, maybe you're in charge of an organization and you're looking for someone to come and talk about weather, all you have to do is send us an email or send us a Facebook message and let us know, and we'll see if we can get you on the schedule. So thank you to Hillcrest Elementary. Also, thank you to Mercer County Junior High School in Aledo. Had a visit with them last week, which was an awesome visit too. It was the entire 6th grade class. They also had some really great questions as we were talking about the development of thunderstorms and more specifically the hail cycle within thunderstorms. So we have a good time at these little chats, and one of the best parts of the job, if I do say so myself, that we get to enjoy. Let's get into some weather here. And first, let's talk about the pattern that we've got in ahead for the week here. You've no doubt felt the warmth. We've had a lot of it. We did 80s yesterday. We're going to go back in the low 80s today. What we're going to be tracking, though, heading into tomorrow is this area of low pressure that is currently spinning right here in Montana, also into Wyoming. That will send a cold front into our region tomorrow night. And you can already start to see the moisture kind of moving up ahead of this feature. All this cloud cover right here. There's also a complex of thunderstorms in northern Iowa this morning. That's not expected to reach here, but it's a sign of a warm front sitting off to the west that'll move through here tomorrow, pushing us from low 80s today to mid 80s tomorrow. Now, as the low moves through, of course, it's going to bring showers and thunderstorms, but it's also going to take the 80s away for a while. So today, tomorrow will be the last of those. Then we'll be cooler to end the month of April. And we'll likely have a cool start to the month of May, too. You can see already by the weekend how the warmth gets suppressed to the south. Meanwhile, the cool air moves in from the northwest. Now, when it comes to the storms later tomorrow night, the Storm Prediction Center, yes, for whatever reason, did nudge the 2 out of 5 farther east than what it was yesterday. But I want to tell you, there are many times when I agree with the Storm Prediction Center, but this is going to be one of those rare times where I do not agree in terms of having this 2 out of 5 so far to the east. I think realistically, it's going to be areas west of this line here, from say Waterloo to Ottumwa. Those areas on that side of the line, that's where I think the level 2 should kind of stop. And honestly, I think even the level 1 here in the Quad Cities is a bit overblown. And I want to show you why. It's not just our in-house model that's been showing this. Several other models have been showing this scenario too. It's all about the timing. The timing is what's going to make and break this. So let me take you into tomorrow afternoon. And there is the possibility that we could get an isolated shower thunderstorm to develop here in southeast Iowa. But what will likely happen is we're going to be what we call capped in the afternoon. We have temperatures tomorrow that are heading for the mid-80s. That will bring a layer of warm air aloft that will prevent upward motion across our region. So we will not expect anything to develop here. What's going to happen is storms will start firing late tomorrow afternoon into the evening way out here in western Iowa. Not really the spot you want to see them form if you're wanting that activity to get in here into the Quad Cities in a strong to severe fashion. It does not look like that's going to happen. These are forming so late and so far to the west, they really don't even get here until about midnight, until the wee early morning hours of Friday. Look at how they just kind of fall apart as they enter our region from the west. By 12:30, 1 a.m. Friday, we're just talking about a scattering of some showers and a couple of thunderstorms. And at that point, notice how it really falls apart going into daybreak Friday. So we do not have a weather impact alert in play for tomorrow night, Friday morning. I don't anticipate needing one at this time because, again, it looks like our severe weather threat is very limited, is very low. You just can't get much severe weather this late at night, especially this time of year when you're relying on the sun to provide the storm energy. So wanted to show you that severe storm zone is hanging out there, but again, we're not really concerned when it comes to the threat of severe weather tomorrow night. Here's the 8-day tracker, and then we'll move on to our Super El Nino discussion. And a couple of showers, of course, will be likely early Friday. You just saw that on the Future Track run. The weekend will be mostly dry. Sunday, a lot of dry hours there too, by the way. I don't think it'll be till Sunday night. Monday, we'll start to see another round of showers and thunderstorms. I don't see any severe weather potential with that. We'll get into the 60s for next Tuesday and next Wednesday. So much cooler heading into next week. The 14-day keeps things cool. And what that will mean is we're going to take a big break from severe weather here in the Quad Cities. That all will be focused well south of us for about the next week to week and a half, down to Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, right in those zones. Those will be the areas that see the severe weather for at least the next week, if not week and a half. Areas that have been really quiet lately. And that's, again, because look at all the cold temperatures. That means we don't have all the warmth in here needed or the moisture to support storm energy and severe weather. So we're going to get a much, much deserved break from that. Thank goodness. Now let's talk about this upcoming probability of seeing a Super El Nino as we get into the upcoming summer, the upcoming fall, and the upcoming winter. So before we get into that, let's recap what exactly is El Nino and what will make this upcoming one a Super El Nino. So El Nino is warmer than normal sea surface water temperatures in the eastern Pacific. Right off the coast of South America is the region we monitor for this trend. Unlike La Nina, it's the opposite. So La Nina is cooler than normal water. El Nino is warmer than normal water. You can see already we're starting to get some very warm water off the coast here of South America. This is expected to strengthen even more as we head into the upcoming summer, fall, and winter. And this will drag itself even further to the west. So we're expecting a very expansive area of the eastern Pacific to be quite warm. Why does that impact our weather here? Well, what it does is it relocates jet streams and several other things with longer range patterns, and it impacts the global weather in a huge way. In fact, in my opinion, El Nino, I think, has a much more greater impact on our weather here in the Quad Cities than La Nina does. We're getting out of a La Nina right now. That's been one of the reasons why we've had so much severe weather. It's very typical when you're exiting a La Nina in the spring, it gets busy around here in the Quad Cities for severe weather. But we'll be entering that La Nina very quickly. In fact, there's already signs we're in El Nino right now, and it will continue to strengthen as we head into the upcoming summer. Here's the forecast for El Nino, and there is very high probability that this is going to happen. We're talking about right now a 75% probability of seeing a very strong El Nino this year. Right now, you can see that difference, that departure from average and sea surface temperatures is very weak. So we're in a weak El Nino. But by the time we get into July, June and July, we'll be in a full-fledged El Nino by then. You can see we are well within El Nino category here. By the time we get to August and September, we'll continue to see that departure get higher. rising above 2 by the time we reach the end of summer, and then really kind of maximizing here in November. And one of the things to remember is the impacts from La Nina and El Nino are usually not felt for a month or two after it gets going. So what that means is, even though we'll be in the strongest part of El Nino likely this fall, its impacts will really be felt as we get into next winter. And if you're curious what those impacts are, I've got the data for you. I stayed up super late for y'all last night breaking down all of these different super El Ninos that we've had here in the Quad Cities and what they've done to each season, the summer season and the winter season. Fall, it's an in-between season, so you get a lot of conflicting data, but for sure you can see some clear-cut patterns in each season. So here's what I found. Our past super El Ninos in the Quad Cities occurred in 1982, 1983, 1997, 1998, and most recently, 2015, 2016. The summer impact for all three of those super El Nino years was warmer temperatures and more rainfall. And I've got more data to back up the more rainfall thing on that too that I'll show you here in just a minute. But take a look at the winter impact. Those of you that love snow are going to be very disappointed in the upcoming winter of 2026, 2027. Every single super El Nino winter in the Quad Cities has been very warm and has featured either slightly or in 2 of the 3 cases, much below average snowfall. And in fact, 2 of those cases, we only picked up a foot of snow for the entire winter season. There was only one season, 1982, 1983, where we picked up close to 2 feet worth of snow, and even that is lower than we would see in a given winter. So there's a very strong signal that our upcoming winter season is going to be a piece of cake in terms of snowfall and bitterly cold temperatures. Very strong warm signal and a very strong signal that we're not going to see a whole lot of snow for the upcoming winter. There's also a strong signal, like I said, with the upcoming summer that we are going to be dealing with warmer temperatures, but we're also going to be dealing with more rain. And I want to show you another strong piece of data that correlates with La Nina and El Nino, and that is drought. I've shown you this before, but it's always a good idea to go back and look at it again because it's another piece of the puzzle that we can use to show you what's going to go down here. So what I've plotted here on the bottom, this graphic right here with these blues and these reds, the blue is La Nina, and the lower it goes on the chart here, the stronger the La Nina it was. The red is El Nino, and the higher on the chart it goes, the stronger the El Nino it was. And then what we've got up here is we've got the level of drought across our region here in the Quad Cities specifically, not the whole United States, but right here at home in the Quad Cities. And what I've shown you is when we're in a La Nina pattern, there is a very strong correlation that La Nina enhances drought here in the Quad Cities. It has happened over and over and over again. In fact, it happened just most recently before we got into this heavy rain pattern just this year. We were in drought nearly all fall, all winter, and we just most recently climbed out of it. And you can see that right here. You can also see that correlation with the La Nina conditions. La Nina, drought. More La Nina here, more drought. You've got La Nina here, guess what? More drought. Now take a look at the El Nino years. What we're focusing on are these spiked red years here. Notice here the lack of drought. Not much drought going on here. This is one of those rare exceptions where we did have some drought. This was back in 2004, 2005, 2006, right in there. We had a weak El Nino, so it wasn't a strong one, but we had some drought there. But notice the stronger El Ninos. This one was a stronger one. Notice it comes up higher than the others to the left. Look at this. No drought whatsoever. Here's another one. Very strong. That's that 2015, 2016. Look at that. Hardly any drought. Here's another weak El Nino. Good correlation. Very little drought again. And look at this. When we went from a very strong La Nina to a weak El Nino, you can see the difference even right here in this little slot. Notice the lack of drought. So we're getting a lot of data supporting those factors is what we're going to be seeing as we head into the next several months. You're also likely going to hear, too, that Super El Nino, if it develops, which it likely will, again, 75% probability that it will, is going to create probably some of the warmest temperature records on planet Earth that we have observed so far. Don't be surprised to hear that. El Ninos are notorious for warming up the global average temperature for many, many reasons. So, don't be alarmed if you start hearing some of that coming out in the months ahead, saying this month was the warmest ever on record, this month was the warmest ever on record. That is very typical of an El Nino, and it's going to be extremely likely given the fact that we're looking at a rather intense El Nino coming in for the summer, fall, and winter seasons. The other thing, too, that I want to mention that El Nino does, and this doesn't really impact us too much here in the Quad Cities, but if you have family members or maybe you have interests along the coastline, maybe the Gulf or into the Atlantic, El Nino really is a killer for the hurricane season. El Nino typically has a lot more wind shear that develops over the Gulf, the Caribbean, the Atlantic, the Western Atlantic. That usually puts a squash on hurricane activity. I've already seen one of the early forecasts come out from Colorado State University. They're projecting and forecasting a below average Atlantic hurricane season this year because of the strong shear. So that is something that is a positive of this anyway. And also a reason, too, why you're going to see the global average temperature tick upward. Because remember that hurricanes, that's nature's air conditioning. If you have a lack of hurricanes, of course you're going to have warmer temperatures. There's no way for that lack of hurricane formation to cool the earth down if they're not forming. So think about that as well as we go into the next several months when all these headlines start coming in. It's nothing to be alarmed about. Again, if this goes according to forecast, this is very much the expected outcome that lots of people have been talking about for the past couple of months, ever since it was evident that an El Nino was going to be in play here across our region. Lastly, before I get to your questions, if you missed this on social media, I posted it yesterday. This was the number of warnings, or actually I think I posted this on Monday. This has been the number of warnings that our office has issued here in the Quad Cities, the number of combined tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings. It's an impressive number. It's the highest it's ever been since we started keeping track of this in 1986, but it comes with a touch more information attached to it. Yeah, it's the highest from the period of January 1st up until the 20th of April, but some of the things you have to keep in mind that are likely leading to this spike in the numbers. Yes, it's been busy. No doubt it's been busy. A lot of you have been impacted by the storms this month. But keep in mind the advancements in technology that we have. Radar now, it's such high definition radar, we're able to more easily and more frequently detect severe storms. We have a lot more storm chasers, a lot more storm spotters in the field than we did even 5-10 years ago. That means more people are watching the storm, more people are reporting the severe elements inside the storm that would then prompt the National Weather Service to issue a warning for said storm. So there is a societal and a technology impact as to why this number is going up with time. And you can see, we have some years it kind of ebbs and flows, but lately it seems like we've had this big jump. And yes, La Nina has part of it to do with that, of course, coming out of the La Nina in the spring. But the vast majority of it is the awareness of severe weather, the reporting of it, the ability to detect it via radar, and a couple of other variables. I also kind of mentioned, too, the other day that last year, 2025, for the whole year, January 1st all the way to December 31st, the total number of warnings that our office issued here in the Quad Cities was 177. We are well on track to beat that this year. It's going to be a very, very active year. Not as active as 2024 or likely 2023 when we surpassed 400-something warnings. But yeah, it's been a busy one, no doubt, and the data does indeed support that. Let's see what you guys have for questions. Probably have a couple of jokes mixed in as well for good measure. And we'll see what you got for me this morning. Had a lot of cool things to cover today, so hopefully you learned a thing or two about what to expect in the next several months. Good morning, Riley. Good to hear from you. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Billy. Wanted to say thank you for all the hard work last week with the severe weather. Appreciate each and every one of you. Again, thank you. And he hopes everyone has a wonderful day. I'll tell you what, it was a long week yesterday, but it was well worth it to keep everyone ahead of the storms. I know there were a few people that were upset that we covered up programming, and I just remind you that our service area is not just the Quad Cities Metro. We go all the way north to Galena, all the way south to Macomb, all the way east to LaSalle, Peru, and all the way west to just the eastern outskirts of Iowa City. We cover a very, very large region. We don't take breaking into programming lightly, and we only do it when there's life-threatening weather. And if you need a reminder as to how bad it was last week, just go ahead and look at some of the pictures that I posted on Facebook of the roof that was removed from the house in Viola, where we had an EF0 tornado. Take a look at some of the damage in Hancock County, some of the damage up near Lena. Definitely a volatile day, and it deserved our attention that we gave it. Riley's got a couple of jokes. Why did the weather student get an A? For having degrees. I like that. That's cute. Second joke. What do you call a grizzly bear caught in the rain? A grizzly bear caught in the rain. Probably not going to be too happy about that. Let's see what the answer is. A drizzly bear. I like that. You always have these cute jokes. That's amazing. Chris and Kayla from Walnut. It may have been discussed already, but will the sky be clear tonight to see the meteor shower? Yes, it will. Mostly clear skies to see that meteor shower for tonight. You can check that out. In fact, I'm looking forward to the drive in. Well, actually, I'm not tomorrow. It's Thursday. I'm off tomorrow. Well, if I was working tomorrow, I'd be looking forward to the drive-in because I come in, between 3, 4 o'clock, and that's when you can see quite a bit of that action in your skies. So check it out, especially if you have a telescope. Really cool to look at. There's not a constant shower of meteors by any stretch of the imagination. You got to have some patience. You got to be willing to sit outside for like a good 30 to 45 minutes, but you're probably going to be able to see something. Kayla's got a joke. What falls but never hits the ground? The temperature. Oh, that's smart. I like that. The question there is El Nino event expected to increase the risk of specific severe weather, such as tornadoes or floods in our area? Because we are talking about more rain, it does increase the possibility of, yes, severe weather and also some heavy rainfall, including flooding. There were a couple of years, in fact, let me grab my paper really quick here. So give me 1 second, because I wrote all this down last night. So much data here, so I have it all on my little legal pad here. There was 1 month in particular that we had a ton of rain. It was 2015. In June of 2015, we got 11 inches worth of rain. In fact, there was another month in there too. It was August of 1997. We had 8 inches worth of rain. So when I was compiling all of the data, I literally went month by month through those 3 super El Nino groups of years. There were a number of months in the summer that had some really, really high rainfall totals. So that's a trend we're going to have to watch, especially now considering that the river levels are very elevated at this time. That could really get us in trouble throughout the remainder of the summer, depending on how this pattern unfolds. So we'll have to watch that for sure. Tyler's asking, with the Super El Nino upcoming this year, what impacts does that have to do when it comes to temperatures? It is warm across the board. Now, are we going to see a lot of heat this summer? The answer to that is we're going to see a little heat, but if we remain consistently wet, it is likely going to keep the heat, the worst of it, at bay in terms of a really long stretch of heat and a really long stretch of intense heat. A wet ground does not absorb a lot of heat. A dry ground, if we were to remain in drought, oh my gosh, no doubt we'd be in a heat wave this summer. But now that we've caught up on rain and it looks like we're transitioning to that wetter pattern, the possibility of getting a long-standing heat wave this summer is steadily declining as of right now. That's a great question. Mimi, yes, I do believe we're going to continue to be very susceptible to rounds of powerful storms through the summer. And we've all caught up. And you know what? We're right on schedule. We've got 9:29 and 45 seconds. 15. We're going to wrap it up at the top of the hour. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to post some more information about this El Nino stuff on my Facebook page later today. And I will see you later this morning for GMQC at 11. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.